Chapter 1. The Poor Boy with a Big Dream. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by tall mountains, lived a poor boy named Omar. His house was made of mud, and the roof leaked when it rained. Omar lived with his mother, who worked hard every day to bring food home. They were very poor, but Omar had a big dream. Every morning, Omar woke up before the sun. He helped his mother fetch water from the well and then went to the market to sell fruits. "Fresh apples, sweet oranges," he called out, hoping someone would buy them. But life was not easy. Some days he and his mother had nothing to eat. The rich people in the village ignored him. "A poor boy like you will never be important," they laughed. But Omar did not listen. He believed in his heart that one day his life would change. One evening, as he walked home, he saw an old man sitting alone by the road. The man looked tired and hungry. Omar felt sorry for him. He took out the only piece of bread he had and gave it to the old man. The man smiled kindly. "You have a good heart, my boy. Remember, kindness always finds its way back to you." Omar did not know it yet, but this small act of kindness would change his life forever. Chapter 2. A Mysterious Gift. The next morning, Omar woke up early as usual. He picked up his basket of fruits and walked to the market. The village was busy with people buying and selling goods. But something strange happened. Everyone was looking at him. "Omar, come here," an old woman called. "You are lucky today." Omar was confused. "What do you mean?" he asked. The old woman pointed to the road. There, in front of his small fruit stall, lay a shiny golden coin. Omar picked it up and looked around. "Who dropped this?" he asked, but no one answered. An old man in the crowd smiled. "Kindness always finds its way back to you," he whispered. Omar remembered the man he helped the night before. Could this be a reward for his kindness? He held the coin tightly in his hand. This was no ordinary coin. It had a strange symbol on it, like a crown. Omar did not know it yet, but this was just the beginning of a great adventure. Chapter 3. The Secret Message. Omar stared at the golden coin in his hand. It was heavy and bright, and the crown symbol on it looked important. Maybe it belongs to someone, he thought. He decided to ask the villagers if they had lost a coin. He walked to the baker's shop. "Excuse me, sir, did you lose a golden coin?" he asked. The baker shook his head. "No, Omar. I have never seen a coin like that before." Omar tried the tailor, the blacksmith, and even the village chief, but no one claimed the coin. Everyone looked at it with wonder. As Omar walked home, he turned the coin over in his fingers. Suddenly, he noticed something he hadn't seen before. Tiny words carved on the edge of the coin. He squinted and read, "Follow the river. The truth awaits." Omar's heart started beating fast. What did this mean? Was it a message for him? He ran to Asma's house. She was sitting outside, fixing a basket. "Asma, look at this," he said, showing her the coin. Asma examined it closely. "This is not a normal coin, Omar. It looks royal," she whispered. Then she read the tiny words. "Follow the river." What do you think it means? Omar took a deep breath. There is only one way to find out. That evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Omar and Asma packed some food and water. They followed the path to the river, not knowing that this journey would change Omar's life forever. Chapter 4: The Mysterious Path. Omar and Asma followed the river as the message on the coin instructed. The water sparkled in the moonlight, and the night was quiet except for the sound of frogs and crickets. "Where do you think this will lead us?" Asma asked. "I don't know," Omar said, gripping the coin tightly. "But I feel like this is important." They walked for an hour until they reached an old wooden bridge. The bridge was broken in some places, but it still looked strong enough to cross. "We have to go over," Omar said. Carefully, they stepped onto the bridge. The wood creaked under their feet, but they made it across safely. On the other side of the river, they saw something surprising. A small, hidden path leading into the forest. The path was covered with leaves, as if no one had walked there for a long time. "This must be the way," Asma whispered. They followed the narrow path, pushing through bushes and trees. Suddenly, they saw something glowing in the distance. It was a stone pillar with strange symbols carved on it. Omar brushed off the dust and read the words aloud. "The lost prince shall return when the time is right." Asma gasped. "Omar, what if this is about you?" Omar's hands shook. Could he really be the lost prince? His heart raced as he realized that this journey was only just beginning. Chapter 5: The Hidden Secret. Omar stared at the glowing pillar. His heart pounded. Could he really be the lost prince? Asma touched the carvings. "Omar, this is not a coincidence. Your father gave you that coin, and now we found this message." Omar took a deep breath. "But what does it mean? If I am a prince, why did my father never tell me?" Just then, they heard a rustling sound. Someone was coming. Omar and Asma quickly hid behind a tree. An old man with a long white beard stepped out of the bushes. He wore a dark robe and carried a wooden staff. His eyes were kind but wise. "I have been waiting for you, Omar," the man said. Omar and Asma looked at each other in shock. "Who are you?" Omar asked. The old man smiled. I am Master Rafiq. I was the royal advisor of your father, King Idris. Omar gasped. My father was a king? Yes, Master Rafiq said. You are the true heir to the throne. Omar felt dizzy. All his life, he had been a poor boy, working hard to survive. Now he was being told he was a prince. But how? Why didn't my father tell me? Master Rafiq's face became serious. Many years ago, an evil ruler took over the kingdom. Your father had to hide you to keep you safe. But now, the kingdom needs its true king to return. Omar's mind was spinning. He had always dreamed of a better life, but he never imagined this. Asma put a hand on his shoulder. Omar, maybe this is your destiny. Omar clenched his fist. He had a choice to make. Would he accept his past and fight for his future? He looked at Master Rafiq and said, Tell me everything. I want to know the truth. Chapter 6. The Truth Revealed. Omar sat on a rock, his hands shaking. His whole life had changed in just one day. He looked at Master Rafiq. Tell me everything. I need to know the truth. Master Rafiq nodded. Many years ago, your father, King Idris, ruled the kingdom with kindness. The people loved him, but one day, his own brother, Zayd, betrayed him. Zayd wanted the throne for himself. Omar's eyes widened. My uncle? Yes, Master Rafiq continued. Zayd attacked the palace with his army. Your father fought bravely, but he knew he could not win. To protect you, he gave you to a loyal servant, your adoptive father. He told him to take you far away and keep you safe. Omar felt a lump in his throat. So, my real father died? Master Rafiq's face was sad. Yes, my child. King Idris fought until his last breath. Zayd took the throne, but he is not a true king. He rules with fear and cruelty. The people suffer under his rule. Asma looked at Omar. This is why the villagers are poor. This is why people are afraid. Omar clenched his fists. And I have been living in the streets, not knowing who I really am. Master Rafiq placed a hand on his shoulder. But now you know. And now you must decide. Will you claim your place as the true king, or will you walk away? Omar's heart pounded. He had always dreamed of a better life, but this was bigger than anything he imagined. Could he really fight for a kingdom? Could he really defeat the man who took everything from him? Asma took his hand. Omar, you are not just a poor boy. You are a leader. You are strong, and you have a good heart. The people need you. Omar looked at her, then at Master Rafiq. He took a deep breath. I will do it, he said firmly. I will take back the kingdom. I will become the true king. Master Rafiq smiled. Then we must begin your training. The road ahead will not be easy. Omar nodded. He was ready. Chapter 7. The Training Begins. Omar woke up early the next morning. The sun was just rising, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. He stretched his arms and looked around. Master Rafiq and Asma were already waiting for him. Today, we start your training, Master Rafiq said. If you want to be a king, you must be strong, smart, and brave. Omar nodded. I am ready. Master Rafiq led Omar to a small clearing in the forest. A king must be strong, not just in heart, but also in body, he said. Omar's first task was to lift heavy stones. At first, it was difficult. His arms ached and his legs felt weak, but he refused to give up. He pushed himself harder every day. Soon, he could carry the stones with ease. Next, Master Rafiq handed Omar a wooden sword. You must learn to fight, he said. A true king protects his people. Omar practiced every day. At first, he struggled. Asma, who was quick and skilled, defeated him many times. But he kept training. He learned to move faster, block attacks, and strike with precision. After weeks of practice, he finally won a match against Asma. She smiled at him. You're getting better. Omar grinned. Thanks to you. Master Rafiq took Omar to a nearby village. The people looked tired and hungry. A good king must care for his people, he said. Omar listened to the villagers' problems. He saw their struggles. He helped them carry water, repair their homes, and share food. The villagers began to trust him. They saw his kindness and courage. One old man looked at him and said, You remind me of King Idris. You have his heart. Omar felt proud but also determined. I will not let you down, he promised. After months of training, Master Rafiq stood before Omar. You are ready, he said, but now comes your greatest test. You must face King Zaid. Omar took a deep breath. He had come so far. He was no longer just a poor boy. He was a warrior, a leader, a king. I am ready, he said. Asma smiled. Then let's take back your kingdom. Chapter 8. The Journey to the Kingdom. Omar, Asma, and Master Rafiq stood at the edge of the forest, looking toward the distant castle. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the land. The time had come. Omar tightened his grip on his sword. How do we get inside? He asked. Master Rafiq pointed to a secret tunnel. This passage leads under the castle walls, he explained. It was built by King Idris in case of danger. Omar nodded. Then let's go. The tunnel was cold and dark. Water dripped from the stone walls. Omar led the way, holding a torch. Asma followed close behind, her eyes alert. Suddenly, they heard footsteps ahead. "Guards!" Asma whispered. Omar held his breath. The guards walked past without noticing them. The group waited until the footsteps faded, then moved forward. At the end of the tunnel, they found a metal door. Omar pushed it open, and they stepped into a storage room inside the castle. "We're in," Master Rafik said. "Now, we find King Zaid." Omar and Asma moved carefully through the castle halls. They saw servants and soldiers, but something surprised them. The people looked sad. A young boy whispered to Omar, "We miss King Idris. This new king is cruel." Omar clenched his fists. His heart burned with determination. "Not for long," he promised. Word spread quickly. More people whispered, "The true prince has returned." Some guards, loyal to King Idris, secretly joined them. "The people are ready," Asma said. "It's time." Omar burst into the throne room. King Zaid sat on the golden throne, surrounded by soldiers. He laughed. "So the lost prince returns?" Zaid sneered. "You are just a poor boy. You cannot defeat me." Omar stepped forward. "I am not just a poor boy. I am the rightful king." The soldiers hesitated. Some lowered their weapons. They knew Omar was the true ruler. Zaid's face darkened. "Foolish boy, if you want the throne, fight for it." Omar raised his sword. "Then let's finish this." Chapter 9. The Battle for the Throne. Omar stood tall in the throne room, his sword in hand. King Zaid smirked, stepping down from the golden throne. "You think you can defeat me?" Zaid said. "You are just a boy from the streets." Omar tightened his grip. "I am the son of King Idris. I fight for my people." Zaid drew his sword and charged. The room echoed with the sound of clashing metal. Omar dodged Zaid's heavy strikes, using his speed and skill. Zaid swung his sword fiercely. Omar ducked just in time. The blade hit a pillar, sending sparks flying. The loyal guards and the people outside the castle heard the battle. More of them rushed inside, ready to fight against Zaid's soldiers. Asma, watching from the side, saw Zaid's weakness. "Omar, he's getting tired. Keep moving." Omar remembered Master Rafik's lessons. He stayed light on his feet, forcing Zaid to use more energy. Zaid's breath became heavy. His strikes slowed down. Omar saw his chance. With a quick step, Omar knocked Zaid's sword away. It clattered to the floor. Zaid fell to his knees. "No, this cannot be." Omar pointed his sword at him. "Your time is over." The castle doors burst open. The people of the kingdom flooded in, cheering. "Omar is our true king," someone shouted. The soldiers who still supported Zaid dropped their weapons. They knew the fight was over. Master Rafik stepped forward. "The kingdom is yours, Omar." Omar looked around. The people believed in him. His journey from a poor orphan to a warrior had led him here. He turned to the crowd. This is not just my victory. It is ours. The kingdom will be free again. The people roared with joy. The throne had been reclaimed. But Omar's journey was not yet over. He had won the battle, but could he truly be a great king? Chapter 10: The Rise of a Just King. The sun shone brightly over the kingdom as the people gathered in the great hall. Omar stood before them, wearing the royal robes of his father. Today he would be crowned king. Master Rafiq stepped forward, holding the golden crown. Omar, you have shown courage, wisdom, and kindness. You have fought for the people, not for power. Today you become their true king. Omar knelt before him. The moment the crown touched his head, the crowd erupted in cheers. "Long live King Omar!" they shouted. Asma smiled proudly. She had always believed in him. Omar's first act as king was to help the poor. He opened schools for children, built homes for the needy, and made sure no one went hungry. The kingdom belongs to all of us, he told his people. Together, we will build a future of peace. He also forgave Zayd's followers who surrendered, but those who had harmed the people faced justice. The kingdom would no longer be ruled by fear. Years passed, and Omar became known as the Just King. His story spread far and wide. People from other lands came to see the king who had once been a poor boy. They were amazed by his kindness and wisdom, but Omar never forgot his past. He often visited the village where he grew up, helping the children who reminded him of himself. One day, as he stood on the castle balcony, he looked at Asma and Master Rafiq. "We did it," he said. "No, Omar," Asma replied. "You did it." Omar smiled. He had come a long way, from a street boy with nothing to the king of a great land. And his story was just beginning.